Hey, what is going on, guys? So if you've been watching the channel for a while, you're probably aware of the video I dropped around a year ago going over how Stevo is no longer vegan. He announced it on Joe Rogan. Well, he just recently came onto the H3 podcast and said some very reasonable things in defense of his no longer being vegan, as well as some other acts he's done that clearly violate animal rights. He made me really just have no genuine issue with him no longer being vegan. What he said just made so much sense. Let's have a listen.
Stevo, that goldfish thing was fucking insane, bro.
What, the new one?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Caught a lot of flack. People were like, dude, you're an animal lover. Like, why are you swallowing a goldfish? And I'm like, dude, come on.
The fish was unharmed, right?
I wasn't able to get it back up.
Oh, the fish died.
Yeah, I wasn't able to get it back up. Like, I did eat sushi.
So just to provide more context, they're discussing a recent video Stevo released where he decided to refilm certain bits from Jackass 20 years ago. One of them is Stevo swallowing a live goldfish and causing himself to vomit the goldfish back up. Long story short, 20 years ago in the original challenge, he was able to successfully throw up the goldfish and they lived. But in his recent recreation attempt from a couple weeks ago, he failed to throw them up and the fish was killed. I know some people have sensitivities to watching others vomit, and I have an intuition that most of you would rather not see him attempt this prank. It's pretty disgusting when you watch the whole thing, so I'm not going to be showing it, but if you want to view it, just go look it up later for yourself. But anyway, Stevo mentioned on the H3 podcast that many people were upset with him saying things like, bro, you're an animal lover, why are you swallowing a goldfish? Which, by the way, the dude eats fish regularly, so I wasn't surprised to hear that he would go through with a stunt like this again. But anyway, his response to people upset with him was, quote, dude, come on.
And I'm like, dude, come on.
Which I personally think is a very good justification for deciding to try to do a challenge where you swallow a sentient being alive and try to vomit them out, only to fail to vomit them out and eventually kill them. The argument, dude, come on, is just such a good justification for what he did.
Dude, come on.
People were like, Stevo, dude, you're an animal lover. Why are you swallowing animals alive? And then Steve was like, dude, come on. Just amazing. If somebody ever decides to eat me alive and I'm like, dude, please don't eat me alive, and they go, dude, come on, I'm going to be like, bro, I didn't think of that. I'm so sorry. Please go ahead and eat me alive. Now, to be fair, the dialogue goes on and Stevo says some more things to try to justify his actions. Let's try to hear him out.
You ate it?
Well, I swallowed it. I couldn't get it back up.
Well, why didn't you go back and finish the job then?
It got to a point where I was like puking up blood. And
Oh, Jesus.
There were like specks of blood, and I was like, look, dude.
Holy fuck, bro.
Sadly, that goldfish didn't make it. But that goldfish was tiny, had no complex nervous system, like really like couldn't remember its way down into my stomach in the first place. Like, can we please like let it go with the fucking goldfish already? You know, like it's not a big deal. Plus, I'm no longer vegan. I've reintroduced seafood into my diet. I eat fucking seafood because I think it's healthy for me, okay? I ate a fucking fish. Get over it.
Yeah, so I think it's clear that even if you're not vegan, it's obvious that the hypocritical non-vegan animal-loving people who took issue with him doing the stunt see his consumption of fish as different to his consumption of a live goldfish who most likely suffered during the stunt. Stevo also attempted to justify his actions by saying something like, oh, goldfish don't have a complex nervous system, basically alluding to the fact that this goldfish probably didn't feel pain and therefore didn't suffer during the stunt. So let's see if this notion holds up against the evidence. In this study titled Mechanoreceptive and Nociceptive Responses in the Central Nervous System of Goldfish and Trout, the abstract reads, nociceptive responses to a repetitive pin prod stimulus in goldfish and trout were assessed. Single unit recordings were taken from the spinal cord, cerebellum, tectum, and telencephalon. Neuronal responses were elicited in all these regions of the central nervous system in both species of fish during brush and pin prod stimuli. In addition, in trout, a heated prod stimulus was used. Mechanoreceptive and nociceptive neuronal responses to various stimuli were elicited in all regions, and responses were detected as far as the telencephalon in both species. In goldfish, a noxious stimulus produced greater neuronal activity than a mechanoreceptive stimulus. This was not found in trout. The accurate setting of the time prods allowed the latency of the response to be calculated in all regions. From these data, conduction velocities suggested that A delta and C fibers were activated. Both fiber groups previously have been shown to be involved in nociception in fish. This study has shown that there is neuronal activity in all brain areas, including the telencephalon, suggesting a nociceptive pathway from the periphery to the higher central nervous system of fish. And just continuing, this study presents novel data on telencephalic activity in fish after noxious stimulation and demonstrates the potential for pain perception in lower vertebrates. Not only is this of an evolutionary significance, but it also adds to the controversial argument about whether fish perceive pain. So, I mean, this experiment, although unethical, is clearly suggestive of the fact that goldfish can feel pain. And while I couldn't find a concrete answer on what exactly would harm and kill the fish through a human's digestive system if swallowed whole, I saw a lot of talk about the esophagus squeezing the fish into the stomach, suffocation in the stomach when trying to breathe, and consequently passing digestive liquid, like stomach acid, directly into their gills, or exposure to the enzyme pepsin, which breaks down proteins into individual amino acids. Either way, this all sounds pretty horrible for the goldfish. But wait, come on, man.
Dude, come on.
I totally forgot about this justification. Never mind about everything I just said. Stevo, later on in the podcast, goes on a little rant about vegans and the people that are upset with him. So let's try to hear him out once again.
Well, so once you disavow the veganism, then I think you're good.
I mean,
Because you have to be a pure.
right, and here's the thing, dude. Like, I'm very much like an animal rights guy, right? Like, I am absolutely.
You can keep
about-
putting needles in me.
And
No.
when vegans are looking at vegetarians and saying they're not like doing, it's just all this infighting is super counterproductive. Can we not collectively just move towards progress and whatever represents progress for the individual and for the collective? Yeah. Like,
Fuck yeah, dude.
we're all of us animal people. If you're not vegan enough, like, who cares? Let's all just make some progress in the right direction.
Right.
Like, adopt a dog. You know, don't fucking shop. Whatever. Like, whatever makes sense for you.
All right, so Stevo says he is very much an animal rights guy, even though 2 weeks before the release of this podcast, he released a video in which he swallowed alive a goldfish for views. Definitely a super animal rights guy. Put very simply, animal rights advocacy is when you decide to swallow animals alive. I really hope that human rights activists attempt to swallow other humans alive. That would be really nice. And it's also pretty hilarious for Stevo to bring up vegans being upset with vegetarians and the counterproductivity of infighting, as if people upset with him about swallowing a goldfish alive for views is similar to some unwarranted infighting among vegans. There is obviously merit to vegans being upset with vegetarians for supporting the cruelty in the dairy and egg industry, but probably just as much merit for vegans to be upset with Stevo, a self-proclaimed animal rights guy, for eating a fish alive for views. He also says, can we not collectively move toward progress and whatever represents progress for the individual and the collective? Yeah, sorry, but like, you swallowed a goldfish alive. You went from being vegan to doing that. The literal opposite of progress from an animal rights perspective. Progress is good when you're actually taking steps to get closer to, you know, fighting for animal rights with your habits. You know, like replacing animal foods with plant foods. But going from being vegan to swallowing a fish alive on camera for views is not progress. It's the literal opposite. I hope that isn't too controversial to say. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. Going to be deleting the channel and no longer be vegan because, you know, dude, come on. Just a really good defense for abusing other animals. Just makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for watching. If you support my work and want to get early access to it, you can click the link in the pinned comment and support me on Patreon. And if you don't know, I do have a book going over most, if not all, of the anti-vegan arguments you're going to hear online, including Dude, Come On. So if you want to get that as well, that'll be linked in the pinned comment. There are also links below for vegan protein powder and merch. Buying either of those helps the channel. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Dude,
Fuck off, I don't want anything to do with you. Don't ever speak to me again. You're a fucking piece of shit.
even vegans don't get your weird, stupid wannabe sense of irony here. Who is your audience? Nobody gets these dumb jokes. Dude,